Everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. I'm looking forward to talking to Louwki. Louwki, pronounce your last name for me.
Coetsee.
All right, thank you very much. You are with Netsurit, Managed IT Cloud and Security Services. We're going to be talking about kind of, that internal IT group, that space that you play in, which I think is really, really important today. Especially because everybody's looking for a good IT group, and there's a lot of hybrid going on in the world all over the place today. Before we get started, I'm a business coach. I work with solopreneurs to Fortune companies and everything in between all over the globe who are successful and stuck, and I get them unstuck. And so I always like to carry that mission in the podcast and ask the guests, where's a recent stuck and how did you get unstuck? I think people learn through stories. So tell us a little bit about, your stuck and unstuck recent moment.
Awesome. Thank you. And so my recent stuck moment, I would say COVID hit a lot of businesses and that really got us thinking hard. How do we evolve as a business? What is the next step? And we really doubled down. We looked at how can we create savings, and we did quite a lot of things. And what we did is we took 50% of our savings and really put it back into the business. And we said, how do we put that into marketing, and how do we put that into M&A? Just the unstuck moment. A lot of people pulling together, but we really doubled down on our M&A strategy and marketing, and the business has grown in the last 2 years. We've been on the Inc. 5000, and it's just been a good journey. A lot of learnings and a lot of growing at the moment, but really just the learning phase is re-looking internally and growing the business. And it's been a good journey.
What were some of the key things you did to grow?
So some of the key things we did to grow is really refocus on marketing. So organic growth. So we had an organic growth strategy. So we're pretty good at strategic planning. So we really looked back into the business and said, for that strategic planning, where are the areas? What should we be focusing on? So the one portion was marketing. How do we double down in marketing? We went from a zero budget, almost investment, into quite a significant marketing team and marketing budget to really say, how do we get the word out there? Word of mouth is not going to get us to that next level. And then on the other side was then acquisitive growth. How do we look at other organizations? How do we create a bigger business, a bigger engine, and bringing other skills and people into our business?
Yeah. I get it. I think that's great. I think community, we've been talking a lot on this show. When COVID hit, I was always under the thought that you should be doubling your marketing, not taking your marketing away, because it was the time to grow your brand. So I appreciate that strategy a lot. So thanks for sharing. And I think it's still true today, right? You got to be thinking about marketing and where your audience is, and are they watching you, listening to you, reading you, and understanding where you are and where you need to be in all of those mediums. And I'm always talking to clients all the time as a business coach and talking about, you got to double your marketing, find out where your message is resonating the most, keep on doubling it. So I appreciate that, Louwki. Thanks.
And it was such a hard decision to make for the business, because we in this crisis mode, and should we put all of that money just back in the bank and see where this is going? And we did sort of decide this is the best way to get us out of this is just to double down and put all of our efforts into that.
It's great. Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk about IT. Your team does internal IT, right? You can come in and be an internal team. So let's talk about that, because now we have, the world is different today than it was 3 years ago, and it's going to continually look differently as we look forward and move forward. And so how does an internal team, work with companies so they can, have fast turnaround? Your team is, I would assume, accessible when needed, right? So typically when people need your type of people, they need them kind of 5 minutes ago. So how does that work? Yeah.
So we've got an international team. We're about 300 people strong. And really our pure focus is technology and understanding business requirements, and then linking that back to technology and how do you get the best out of your technology. And what we've seen is with smaller teams where you've got an internal IT, we can really come in and augment and help. So we can really drive some of that strategic things that you never get into, and mentor the team to really say, as a business, this is our strategic objectives. This is what we're trying to achieve. How do we bring in technology to help get us there? So a lot of conversations today is going on around AI and what's happening in that AI space, and where is that going to take us into the future? So how do we help drive business optimization within your business? And then on the other side of the spectrum is security. As we moved into the cloud environments, people working from home, security has become a big issue in businesses. And how do we help your team really fortify your environment and lock it down? And then to take it a step further down the stack is sort of from a help desk, service desk, we can help come in there. And if your team's not big enough, or you want to outsource everything, we can do the whole 9 yards for you and take control of your whole technology stack. And a lot of businesses aren't big enough to have their own internal team. And that's where we come in and we become your internal team, and you can focus on your business and what you really do well, and you don't have to worry about technology.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Let's talk about AI. Where's AI going, do you think? Where are we going to be 3 years from now with AI?
It's a very interesting question, and it's been very progressive and very, very fast. Microsoft is about to launch something called Copilot. There's a lot of hype around Copilot, but essentially what we're going to be getting is an assistant within the Microsoft ecosystem that can help you write emails. It's going to help take notes. It's going to summarize it for you. It's going to be, if you want to do a spreadsheet and know what's the best sales for the month and what product didn't do the best, you'll be able to ask this. It's going to go into your database, into your environment, collate that information, bring it back in an Excel spreadsheet. You can tell it then, well, I want that in PowerPoint. It will create a PowerPoint and you will have that. So I think it's going to change a lot. We're going to become a lot more productive, but we're going to have to accept this technology and learn how to incorporate that in our day-to-day lives. But I think a lot's going to change.
It's so interesting. You're talking about, all of the thing for Copilot, and it's going to be fascinating. But if we look at just all the technology that we have today, and companies spend millions and millions of dollars on incredible technology that if we had it 20 years ago, we would have used it. And 20 years ago, we were saying, oh, if only X was available, we would, be so far, so much further ahead, et cetera. But one of the things I see is that a lot of the technology that is out there today, people aren't using, right? Or people aren't using and they're not using effectively, or they don't know how to use it, or they don't have time to learn how to use it. They don't know how to apply. And that's my concern when it comes with, you got ChatGPT, and then you have Microsoft doing their thing, and you have Google doing their thing. And now all of a sudden people are inundated with different ways of doing things.
Yes.
So they do nothing, and then they don't use the technology. And so how do we fix that?
Jon, you touch such a relevant point, and we live and breathe it. People probably use 10 to 15% of what the technology can do. Right. And we've actually started a product called Innovate, and it's really around helping people to do adoption. So within Microsoft, even, they've got an adoption score. How well are you using my product? And a lot of people don't even know it exists, but every company that uses the Microsoft ecosystem, there's an adoption score. So we help you understand that adoption score and how do you become better at the technology and the experience for the end user. So we've got a full program that will assist and guide you through that journey. And we can show you statistically how you're improving and how you're saving time within your organization, how you're taking better meetings, and all these different facets. So we've got a full program to really help people that drive that adoption and get the best out of technology.
Right. But again, how do we get people to then use it? Right. The tools are there. So now, one of the things I recommend as a business coach is, spend 1 minute or maybe 1 minute a day or 5 minutes a day or 3 minutes 3 times a day, or 3 minutes 3 times a week. Find some type of cadence where you make an appointment with yourself, where you commit to learning. Otherwise, you wake up, Louwki, and you're just so behind you can't even catch up. It's like, I remember years ago, now I read things online and on my phone and this, but years ago when I subscribed to, every magazine, you get to a point where you're like, God, how did I get 25 magazines? And the only way to kind of get rid of the anxiety is just throw them all away and start from scratch.
No, exactly. So
Right.
we're a firm believer of what you measure is what you get. As you can see, I've got some pictures behind me here, some stats. So for us, you first need to know where you are. And once you know where you are, we can then say, well, these are the tweaks that we need to implement.
Yeah.
And then we need to go and implement. And it is important. This needs to come from the top down. People need to be in a growth mentality. So we need to want to see the benefits, and it needs to be explained, why is a growth mentality needed? What's going to be the benefit if I grow?
Right.
So we need to clearly tell people, you're going to be able to get through your day, and at the end of the day, relax and not worry about the business and worry about all your tasks that you had to do. So we have to explain the benefit to the community. And once we are able to explain that benefit to the community, we need to give them the training and then track that training and see, is there progressive improvements? If there's not, what's the blockers? What's stopping us? People are maybe too busy, or they don't understand the content. So I guess where it starts is understand where you are, and then come up with a game plan. How do we improve it? And then measuring that.
Yeah. Amen. I hope so, because it's moving so fast. And it's gonna tell everybody you're a managed IT. So tell everybody who your ideal clients and exactly what you do and can do for them.
So our ideal client is sort of from 50 to 1,000 users, from a user community base, predominantly in the Microsoft ecosystem. That's where we've got the most skills and specialize in. And from a holistic perspective, there's 4 big pillars that I can call out. The one is the foundation, making sure your technology is set up correctly. It's giving you everything that you require. Then we've got security, making sure you're secure and that all your data that's living in the cloud is correctly managed. And then we've got productive. So how do we make sure you've got all this great foundation and it's all secure, but how do we make you productive? And then we've got innovate, where we're then saying, how do we innovate? Where is your business going? And how do we attach technology to that innovation? And to give an example, you could have disparate databases and systems, and you've got data everywhere. We can, through Microsoft Power Apps or Power BI, collate information together and bring it together. So those are sort of the 4 big high-level buckets from that perspective.
Yeah. Okay, good. I love it. Let's do a quick speed round. A book, a TED Talk, or an article that's had the biggest impact on you?
Jim Collins, Good to Great.
So good. It really is a great book. I think it's a must read. It's great. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Wait, say that again.
The best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Best piece of wisdom, I would say, what you measure is what you get. It is a core one for us.
That's good. And finish this sentence. What's one thing every company should do to double their marketing?
Plan, really do market research and plan that you know where you're going to spend that money, you're going to get a good return.
Yeah, I love it. Louwki, this was great. Think community, we talk a lot about starting a business, growing your business, small business, Fortune companies, everything in between, all size companies. IT is such an important piece of the business, technology. If you don't have your IT in order, check out Louwki's company. Give them your website, Louwki.
Our website is Netsurit, NETSURIT.com.
Yeah, worth checking out, because in today's world, we got to be really tight internally with our IT. And I hate to say this, but we also got to be ready to kind of pivot. We saw a big pivot 3 years ago, and who knows when hopefully there won't be, but another pivot like that again. And so we got to be ready, and our IT needs to be tight. I come from a little bit of a background, not IT, but I started an internet company out of college and then sold that with my brother and a buddy 2 years after we started it. And it was great. It was exciting, but that world moves really fast and it's really intricate. And the people on our team that we had that really understood the IT piece of the business were really, really critical to each piece of it. I really appreciate, Louwki, you being on the show. Give everybody your website one more time.
It's netsurit.com. netsurit.com.
All right. And then community, you can reach me at jondwoskin.com. But I want to extract one thing that you shared that I think is really, really important. IT is critical. Marketing is also critical. Louwki talks about doubling their marketing. You hear me say that a lot on the show, and I'm going to continue to say it. Everything is marketing. And so get out there, figure out where your audience is. There's lots of shows where we've talked to people about branding and marketing, et cetera. Tighten up your message, get out there, market more. Louwki, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it as well.